Hello again, silly moustache again. I'll make 2 videos in the same afternoon. I just found out how to look at old comments on YouTube, and I'm afraid that I have failed to answer many people's queries. And so my apologies to Chase Hartzell, which was a year ago, and to Andrew Bowen, who asked me about songwriting. Well, I know I do call myself a songwriter. I think it would be better I call myself a songwriter, because I haven't written anything for a long time. Oh, one of the other comments was, I think it might have been from Andrew, was how can you write a decent song with few chords? And also someone asked me about beginner songs. Well, I'm kind of thinking about how to explain a little bit more music theory, but I think there's an awful lot of people on YouTube that have done it better than I can, because I never studied any music theory. I just kind of picked it up along the way. But I'd just like to play you 2 songs which are in the simplest chord progressions you can imagine. There's this one. And this gentleman always seemed to start his songs in the same way, which was what we call a 1-5-1. I got the California blues and I sure gonna leave you here. I got the California blues and I sure gonna leave you here. I may ride the blinds, I ain't got no railroad fare. And that was, believe it or not, California Blues, written by Jimmy Rogers in the 20s. And it just uses a C shape, D in fact, as the first chord, the second chord, and the third, or I should say the first, the fourth, and the fifth. Yes, I've done some fiddly bits because I can't not do them. I'd try it. Ride the California blues and I sure gonna leave you here. I got the California blues and I sure gonna leave you here. I may ride the blinds, I ain't got no railroad fare. Alright, now I'm going to play you another one. Similar start. Today I passed you on the street and my heart fell at your feet. Well, I can't help it if I'm still in love with you. Somebody else stood by your side and he looked so satisfied. I can't help it if I'm still in love with you. The picture from the past came slowly stealing as I brush your arm and walk so close to you. Suddenly I got that old time feeling. I can't help it if I'm still in love with you. That's a Hank Williams song. 2 very famous names. Country music kind of invented by Jimmy Rogers, and Hank Williams was enormously popular just about a generation later. Both incredibly simple songs, and both of them wrote songs with mostly just the 3 chords, sometimes 4, sometimes 5. But we can go into that later. I believe it is easier to write a song with simple chords, and you can ornament them as your skill goes. Now I'm going to try, and I would dare to compare my songwriting skills with people like Jimmy Rogers or Hank, but here's a song that I wrote, 1999, for my last album. and it's called, trips off the tongue, Homesick for a Place He's Never Been. Long ago and far away, small boy watches cowboy films, Stetson hats and jingling spurs and dams with Spanish names, heroines and Indians and silver six-guns spouting flames. Childhood dreams are burning bright, he's homesick for a place he's never been. Time passes, years go by like leaves upon a stream, still inside a grown man's heart, a small boy's dream. Three chords again, very simple. Here's a song that I wrote about my dad. It's called Here and Gone, and I'm sure I've made a video of this before. And it was inspired by a song with a very similar progression written by Guy Clark about the loss of his dad, and that was called Randall Knife. This is about my dad and how he haunts me in the nicest possible way. There's a ghost that haunts my days in a look, a gesture, 100 ways. Brooding soul who dogs me spill from the pool of despair to the high of the hill. Well, this was a man when I was a child, with his piercing blue eyes, accusing and wild. Strong brown hands, missing 2 fingers, and oh good God, how his memory lingers. Here and gone, here and gone. What is still here though he's long gone? Let him go, or let him stay. Probably doesn't matter anytime or anyway. Right, I'm just doing a verse and a chorus of these just to make the point. Nothing flashy about the guitars, about the chord progressions. Some little fiddly bits that I mentioned in a recent video. How do I write songs? I write songs when I've got something I need to say. And I haven't felt the need to say anything for quite a long time. I've written a few bluegrassy songs which you know, follow the same sort of genre, and it's all pretty similar stuff. I've written those two. I've written a couple of love songs. I did make an album in 1999 which I think was all numbers that I wrote, with the exception of, strangely enough, I Can't Help It If I'm Still in Love With You, which was a little message to someone. So when it really comes down to it, what do you need to write a song? You need a couple of rhyming couplets. That's 2 lines that look at California Boom. I'm going to California where they sleep out every night. Yes, I'm going to California where they sleep out every night. I mean, this is the 12-bar type arrangement that you use in blues. You know, around here, women, they don't treat me right. All right, so you've only got 2 rhymes. You can use a formula with 4 lines. The first 2 rhyme with each other, and the second 2 rhyme with each other, and things like that. This is basically poetry 101 stuff. And it's always good to have a chorus which is slightly different, not necessary. You can start it on the 4th chord or the 5th chord and then resolve it back to the 1 chord, whereas you start the verses with the 1 chord, things like that. But it is relatively easy to write a song, but you've got to have a story. The problem I always had was my songs were too long, too many words. But I learned something, and I don't know where I heard or read this, but John Prine said that when he had a story to tell in a song, he wrote it out as if it was an essay, and then he put it into a sort of chronology, and then he cut out everything that wasn't absolutely essential to making the point of the song, and then wrote a chorus out of the story to go with it, and that was it. Strip it down to absolute minimum. A lot of songwriters had the same problems with me. There's a young chap that comes to my club who writes songs, and there's far too many words and people don't grasp them. Simple statements get through. If you want people to listen to your lyrics, you've got to tell the story briefly, you've got to tell it like you mean it, and it's got to hopefully rhyme, and it doesn't need any more than 2 or 3 chords. I hope that helps. I'm not an expert in songwriting, but that's what I did. If you have been, thanks for watching. Bye.